Hello, dear ones. Facebook is telling me something. It is good to be here. Again, the week is just crazy. It's amazing. All the changes. Makes me stop and think again and again and observe and look how things are. Friday, this live love broadcast allows me to sink in and to connect with that, to connect with the week, to talk about it, to share, and through that sharing a lot of wisdom comes. And it's been amazing. It's interesting when Friday starts to come, like let's say Tuesday or Wednesday, when it gets closer to Friday, I'm having some ideas about, it's actually not just an idea, it comes to me with a lot of passion what I would like to speak about. And then usually comes Thursday and suddenly I don't want to speak at all. And then comes Friday and I want to speak, but then it's mostly different than the concepts that came during the week, and I'm really happy to be able to do that, to do this live show right now very spontaneously, very consciously, with whatever it is that is present with me at the moment, and not necessarily plan something to speak about. Life is constantly moving. Life is a river. It's constant. There's constant change, even in days like this, where we are supposed to be in lockdown and in quarantine. Things are still moving. Things are still taking shape. And actually, it's easier for the change to appear and to manifest in a lockdown time. When everything slows down, when there's less resistance, then the change can manifest in a more graceful and easier way. For change is mostly going against the current, is the present current. Change is either going 90 degrees away from it or anything in between to against it. But change is never going exactly directly with the current. Therefore, when the current is stopping, when it's slowing, when it comes to almost a still stand as it did a few months ago, it's easier for the change to take place, to take shape, and to gain momentum. And that's a blessing. I know that many are upset with the lockdown and with the quarantine and with the situation. It's definitely affecting people's life on a very dramatic level. It's affecting my life. I'm choosing to look at what I can do with that change. I'm choosing to look at what I can shape, how I can shape reality with what has been given to me. And it's been giving to us quietness, slowliness. That's what the lockdown is allowing us to stop, observe, change direction, and gain momentum into building that up. So that's a blessing. There's a blessing in everything. Please, my friend, don't forget that. We are manifesting this by ourselves. We are receiving that as a gift. Whatever it is that comes, it is a gift. And when we can see that, acknowledge that, then we can smoothly and more easily transition into that. And I've been feeling myself when the transition is coming now, it's kind of harsh, but it goes quickly. That's very interesting. The angle of the transition or the changing of the perspective is suddenly so obvious, that it's really harsh, it's really like a cut. But then the transition on itself is quicker. Everything is quickened because there is less resistance. And what I've been noticing about myself is that I'm allowing the transitions, it's huge transitions, but I'm allowing them to come in waves, and they come and they round off and they go quickly by, and then there's again time of stillness, and then another wave comes, and it's harsh or fun or exhilarating or whatever it is that I'm choosing to experience with it at that moment. And then it quietens down again, and the frequency of all of this is higher, and it's just beautiful. For this is what this is all about. It's about elevating the frequency in which we are operating, what people call a higher state of consciousness. What does that mean? It means I am able to perceive more, I'm able to take more of that in, understand that it's actually coming from inside of me, and allow that to start moving and create a new kind of a pattern. That's what it means. And that pattern works on a higher frequency, on a higher vibration. Why? Because we have elevated our own perception, and we are allowing this to happen. That's it. The less resistance from us, the quicker and the higher the frequencies can work in. So it's a blessing. What we call, or what some people call as, how they call it, blessing in disguise. Today, I would like to talk about conviction. And the allegory for that, I will use the symbolism of a moth. I've touched this subject last week by saying, pay attention, be aware to every little thing that is coming across in your life, in your view, in your presence. Even if it's just a fly. Everything is there as a symbol to serve you, to show you something. Even a fly is there to show you something. And how you measure or tap into what it wants to tell you is by asking yourself, what is the relationship that you have with whatever it is? If it's a fly, what is the relationship that you have with it right now? Does it annoy you? Are you upset with the sound of it entering your field? Are you irritated by it touching your skin? Are you associating it with diseases? What do you associate with that symbolism of a fly, and what do you relate to that experience that you have with that fly? And then we are talking now just about one little fly. Now imagine everything that is happening in your experience in every given moment. That's huge. That's a lot of things are present in your life right now. In this moment, you are focused on hearing this transmission, but around you there's happening many things. And inside you, even more. What is your relationship to this? What is your perception? Now, we have been conditioned to shut those down, to focus on one thing, maybe three things tops, and all of the rest we are shutting down. We've been conditioned just through the essence of being human. For when we want to manifest anything in this reality, we really need to be focused. We really need to be focused on what we're doing. And we are channeling our awareness into a beam. And that beam, we call it focus, and we are throwing it, or we are focusing it on one object or on one activity, And that allows us to be sufficient. And through that conditioning, we just continued shutting ourselves down from noise, from flies, from the wind, from sound of water, whatever it is. Actually, the basic things in life, we are shutting ourselves down. Taste. When was the last time that you really acknowledge taste? When you really tasted something and allowed yourself to open up to taste. Smell. There are countless of vibrational smells out there around you right now. From how many of them are you aware of? We have conditioned ourselves to shut ourselves down. It's good. It's been serving us. Now it's time to open up. And that's what we're doing. We are opening up. We are allowing more into our awareness. We are allowing a relationship with that. That is called consciousness. A relationship with something that I am observing. We are allowing that to be more and more present with us, to bring up feelings, to connect feelings and emotions to that. And in that way, we are elevating our consciousness. We are lifting the veil of forgetfulness, the veil of shutting down all of our senses or the rest of the outside world. We are lifting that up and elevating our own consciousness. And by doing that, there's a transition, and the transition is also constant there. But what we are going into is just more of experience. That's what it is about. More of the same experience. And it doesn't mean that the same experience repeats itself. It means more feelings out of any given experience. The experience becomes richer. We are able to connect with more parts of the experience because we are opening up our senses to receive more from that experience. We are building a bridge. We are widening that bridge. That is the connection. That is the relationship that we have with that experience. A person may be a person, an object, an animal. So recently, the moth has been present in our lives, in Callie and mine, in our lives. And there was especially that one day, on Wednesday, that we saw at least 10 different of them during the day. Callie immediately searched the symbolism of a moth. And this is something that I would like to invite you to do, to get into those symbolism. Because if we break down anything in life, we can understand the simplicity of it, and that simplicity is pure knowledge that we can harness to our own life. Because if it's in our life, if it's in my awareness, it wants to show me something, it wants to play with me, it wants to be acknowledged. So we looked for the simplicity of a moth, and we looked for the symbolism of a moth, and we are applying that simplicity. So what is the symbolism of a moth? It's very simple. We don't even need to look for it. You know it already. A moth is a dark butterfly, is an ash, is a symbol of the fallen angel. It's a butterfly that it's black and dark, and if you touch it, you will feel itself like a rusting or fading, the blackness of it on your fingers, much like ashes. And it flies in the night. It has wings, it has freedom, and its dominion is nighttime. And where does it go? Wherever there is light. That's the interesting part about the moth. It's drawn to the light. It's obsessed with the light. And it has such a conviction to go there that it would risk its entire life if it gets too close. And it will get close. So if you look at a moth, you will see it goes to a light source and then it starts spiraling around it, circling and spiraling around it. From what we see, when we observe it, it seems like craziness what it's doing. It's because it's blinded by the light. Now another interesting part about the moth is that the moth, it's drawn by the light, but it cannot live in daytime. It's too much light. That's why in daytime they are resting, they are hiding, and at nighttime they are flowing, but they will be drawn to the light. It's amazing. And it's a very beautiful symbolism to humanity, actually. For we are the fallen angels. We have come down into density, into this reality for experience, and we are constantly drawn to the light. Constantly. That's this one thing that keeps on calling upon our awareness to look, to ask ourselves, to ask questions, to doubt things, to look for information, to read books, to get on a spiritual path. That's the light. Yet, when it's too much light, we are blinded by it. It's too much. It gives us a headache. We cannot deal with it. We go back into shadow. That is the story of humanity. It's a constant playing with the light. There's more to this symbolism. There's the sun god that plays a very huge part in it, which is, our sun is also fire. There's many elements in it. We will get into it throughout, probably not today, but throughout the communication that we have here on Fridays. I will tell more about that. But let's stick with the moth right now. So the moth is the symbolism to our own spiritual journey. We come here to earth to experience density pure. Density pure. We are channeled, we are focused, we shut down most of the senses around us because we are blinded by the light. It's too much information, it's too much emotions, too much feelings, too much. So it's a constant play between what we feel that draws us, this inside passion that is keep on calling us to search, to look for more, to expand, to realize. And then we are expanding ourselves, and then it's too much, and then we are shutting ourselves again. It's, in a way, it's a beautiful way of breathing, right? It's an opening and closing, opening and closing. It's just the rhythm of life. And yet, this symbolism plays a unique role in each and every one of us. The moth plays a unique role for me, plays a unique role for you, and if it's there in your awareness, then check in with yourself. Why is it there right now? For the moth, as we said, is getting close to the light, and yet its tendency will get it burnt. Not all of them, of course, but some do, and we see it every day. They get too close to the light, they circle and they spiral the light. They are being fascinated by that light. And if they get too close, they lose their life in an instant. Now that's a beautiful symbolism for us to remember. For especially during these times, I know many of you are on a spiritual path for many years, and during these times we are feeling even a stronger connection to it, as a conviction to go out there, to start not only talking the talk, but walking the walk. Start channeling who we are. Start connecting with the deeper knowledge and the deeper emotions of what makes us humans. That is the light. This is where the light shines. This is where the light comes from. And that conviction brings us so close to the light, and from time to time we get burnt. And we get burned. When we get burned, it's probably would be manifested by a relationship, by a person outside. A person outside would reflect to us that we are too close to the light. And what does that mean? That's, I think, an individual question. However, let's stay for a second with that relationship, with that person reflecting to us, hey buddy, that's too much. And then there will be hurt, there will be pain, either physically or emotionally. And we will have to deal with that, because well, first of all, what happens with the pain, what happens with the hurt, it forces us to shut down, right? To go back to the shadow, to let go of the light, go back inwardly, what we feel to inwardly, we shut ourselves down, we go into somewhat of a darkness, into a shadow. And what we are able to do by now, my friends, is the quick transition, what I've mentioned in the beginning of this broadcast, the quick transitioning. Because there's less resistance from the outside, because there's more slow movement now, and because of the strong conviction from the inside, we can transition all of those wounds in a higher state. We can quicken that. We can let go of the hurt itself, knowing that it's there to serve us, that it's just a barrier telling us, hey buddy, you've gone a bit too much. You got too close to the light because of your state of awareness right now, your state of consciousness, wherever you are, you still need to let off something go, whatever it is for you there individually to realize, to let that go in your own darkness, in your own shadows, and then come back to that conviction and go back to circling the light. That's basically what it means. That's the simplicity of symbolism. Now again, what I find is that it's very important to keep it simple, to commit to simplicity. It's very easy for the human to go into complexities and ask too many questions. But what does that mean? And read another article about the symbolism, if we're speaking about the moth, and read another article about the symbolism of the moth, and really get mentally into it. That's a human experience, a human tendency. But I think we are pretty much aware nowadays that this leads too much into oblivion, too much again into forgetfulness, too much information, too much mental processing. So for me, I'm sticking to simplicity. I'm allowing whatever it is that comes into my awareness to show me that symbol, and if I need something else, then I would Google that, or I would ask a question, but just one. And it's enough for me to receive that one information, to keep it simple and to move forward to a next understanding. So my friends, what's the time? 25 minutes. Today it seems that it's been going quite quick, but I've shared more or less what was mostly on my heart, and I wish you a beautiful transition during these times, and keep it simple, my friends. It's always good. See you soon.